In this presentation, Career Services will provide guidance around the resume you will submit as part of your internship application. There are some important details to the resume you will need to pay attention to. We understand that students start their program with various education and career backgrounds and levels of professional and life experience. No matter where your comfort level is with crafting your resume, please know that the Career Services team is here to help. By the end of this video, you'll understand the purpose of a resume, how to structure the different sections, craft effective bullets that describe the key takeaways of your experiences, and general formatting tips. I'll also go over how you can navigate possible identity disclosures within your document, and end with some additional resume resources you can access. Before we dive into what you should include in your resume, we need to start with the purpose of a resume. When you apply for an internship or job, your goal is to communicate to the reader why you are the best candidate for the position, and your resume is the most important marketing tools. People have a tendency to continually add to their resume without editing or removing information that is no longer relevant. If the information the reader is looking for is buried among non-relevant information, it will make it a lot harder for them to figure out that you have the necessary skills for the internship or job. Taking the time to tailor your resume to the situation by highlighting your most relevant education, training, skills, and experiences is the key to getting your resume noticed by an employer. We'll begin by thinking about the necessary sections that you'll include in your resume and how to order them. The structure of your resume should flow in a way that makes it easy to track your relevant experiences. They all follow the same order, which is your contact information, education section, and then your main experience section. However, you will want to tailor your main experience heading to allow the reader to capture the theme of your main experience section. For example, you can see that the research resume labeled their main experience as research experience. The K-12 student labeled theirs as teaching experience, and the Ed Tech student labeled their experience section as instructional design experience. You might choose to include optional sections such as additional experiences, professional development, or awards. If you do, make sure that you ask yourself if they are relevant to the rest of your document. We will describe this in greater detail in the few slides to come. The first and most important part of your resume is your header. Keep it clean and simple. Your name should be the largest text on your resume so it stands out. Your contact information should include your UMISH email. It's customary to include your phone number and mailing address as well, but if you do not feel comfortable including these pieces, you can leave them off or use more general text like your city and state instead of your mailing address. Your header is also a good place to note a first name other than your legal name or your pronouns. You can also include the URL to an updated professional social media account such as LinkedIn if you have one. As you can see in these examples, it's up to you how you want to organize or format your contact information. Some key things to keep in mind is that you do not need to include the words email, phone, or address as labels for the information, as it will be apparent to the reader what these things are. Also, be mindful that your header doesn't take up too much space. When you are providing a cover letter as part of an internship or job application, it's not necessary to include an objective statement, as this can take up valuable space on your resume. Incorporating an objective statement might be helpful if you were sharing your resume with a potential employer at a networking event, since in the event they would not have a cover letter to refer to. If you do use an objective statement, just make sure that it is highlighting your unique strengths and is not a generic statement that other candidates could use. Now let's talk more in depth about the top section of your resume, the education section. For your education section, each degree listed will contain 4 pieces of key information. They are the degree name, and you can include your concentration name, institution name, degree issued date, and location, which is the city and state, or country if outside the U.S. Make sure that the name of your degree and concentration is correct. You can find an education section template within the resume resources found in the Educational Studies Internship Search pathway. Including your GPA is optional. If you have more than one degree listed in your education section, make sure you are consistent in including your GPA for all of your degrees or for none of them. If you're just beginning your degree program, it's okay that you don't have a GPA to list yet. It will become available once grades are posted at the end of your first semester in your degree program, so you can update your resume then if you choose to include your GPA. Remember to list your degree dates in reverse chronological order, having the most recent listed first. In a similar fashion to your education section, your main experience section should contain 4 key pieces of information, which are the position title, date, name of organization, and location. The 2 most important pieces are the role title and name of the organization, and should be aligned on the left side, so that they stand out to the reader as they scan the resume. If your experiences have a common theme, you can tailor the title of your main experience section so that it becomes instantly apparent to the reader that you have prior experience in a particular field or area. For example, if you're interested in obtaining an internship where you build upon your research skills and you have had a few experiences in or related to research, you could group these experiences together and call the section Research Experience. If you're interested in interning at an education nonprofit organization and have experiences working directly to support K-12 youth, you could group these experiences together in a section called K-12 Youth Engagement. If you feel that your experiences are more varied and you do have a specific theme to highlight, you can always call your main experience section Experience and simply list your most relevant experiences there. You might choose to add optional additional sections such as skills, awards, or professional development. For a skills section, you want to consider what specific items you have to add to this. Ask yourself if they are relevant and help enhance your experiences. If you have a handful of technical skills, then it might be meaningful for you to have them stand out in the skills section. We recommend not listing interpersonal or work management skills like communication or detail-oriented in a skills section, since they are more abstract terms and the words on their own don't tell the reader how good you are at those things. Instead, we recommend incorporating them into the bullets within your experiences. Just remember that the importance of value of anything you include should be obvious to the reader. Professional development might look like conferences, trainings, or professional development retreats that you have attended, or any professional associations or committees you have belonged to or serve on. If you want to highlight these experiences, you need to include the name of the program or conference you attended, your role title, typically attendee or presenter, the date, the location, and at least 2 bullets portraying the key takeaways from the event. What did you gain from participating in this professional development? And how is that relevant to your reader? If you have 1 or 2 awards that you received during a degree program, you can consider including them right below that particular degree in your education section. If you have several awards or honors, you can create a separate award section at the end of your resume. For any awards you add, think about what they are conveying to the reader. Does it make sense for you to share this? And will they understand why these awards are important? One of the most important things on your resume will be the text you use to describe each of your experiences. We recommend using bullets instead of paragraphs, as this is easier for a reader to identify each of your main statements. In addition, it's really important to have meaningful bullets which describe and not just state the tasks you did. To do this, there are 3 steps you need to follow. First, Determine what you want to say about this experience. If you're writing the bullet from scratch and are struggling with what to focus on, it can help to envision how you want to answer the reader if they verbally asked you, what are the key takeaways you got from this experience? When replying, you would want to describe the outcomes in a way that the reader would understand and find value in. Sometimes brainstorming and free writing can help you get those thoughts down on paper first before trying to figure out how to structure the statement into a polished bullet. Then, we recommend using the bullet plus format to help you structure your bullet point so that you convey the value of your takeaway. Include your task or responsibility, which is what you did, beginning with a strong action word, and then communicate the value of that task through giving an example of how you did it, or why you did it, or an impact that resulted from that task. Including one of these aspects, and you don't have to include all three, either the how, why, impact, will paint a more detailed picture for the reader of how well you did that task. It's also important that you showcase to the reader your positive contribution in that task so that they can see you being successful in the role that applies to the current situation. Lastly, validate your bullet point. Ask yourself, from what I have written, will the reader understand the value I'm trying to convey? If you're unsure, ask a friend, family member, or career advisor what they interpret the bullet point to mean. Now I'll go over some bullet examples from different education-related experiences. For someone with K-12 teaching experience, they could have a bullet like this that describes the task, then the how, and the why. In this bullet, for someone that has research experience, they state the task first, followed by the why. For someone working in ed tech, this bullet states the task, which is to create the high quality and engaging content for an education app, followed by the reason or the why. So now that we've covered how to structure your document and write effective bullets that highlight the main takeaways of your experiences, I'll now discuss the formatting of your resume. It is crucial that your resume is visually clean and organized. Because of this, we recommend staying away from any imposing design elements as they might distract from your content and take up valuable real estate for describing your experiences. If you're interested in adding color to your document, you can, but just check at what it looks like when printed in black and white to make sure that all of the text is still readable. Some education environments, like K-12 schools, government agencies, and higher education institutions, tend to be more reserved with document formats and expect a more traditionally structured one-column resume, whereas some private companies, such as those focused on ed tech, might appreciate more creative formats. No matter what, just make sure you're not sacrificing your content for the visual appeal. Consistency is key. Ensure that your style and layout is consistent throughout the resume. Make sure that you use the same font and bullet type. Double check to see that you apply the same standardized format of headings and subheadings. Additionally, make sure to be consistent with how you format the dates of your experience and always use reverse chronological order when listing experiences within each section. A common question we get is about resume length, and if it can be more than one page. The short answer is yes. As long as all the information on your resume is as concise, relevant, and meaningful to the reader as possible, it's okay to have a 2-page resume in education-related fields, especially if you've been actively involved in relevant activities or have been out of school for an extended period of time. Typically, we recommend to not go over 2 pages. And of course, there are always exceptions. Unless you know the particular preference of an employer, then just follow what works best for you. In terms of the text font and size you should use, studies have shown that the majority of employers prefer sans serif fonts like Arial or Helvetica, as opposed to serif fonts like Times New Roman, just because they are a little easier to read. It's best to use the same font throughout your document. We also recommend that the main text of your document should be between 10-point and 12-point size. There are a variety of approaches people take when putting together a resume and choosing to disclose aspects of their identity. Sometimes people want to share about themselves very openly in application materials and only intern or work at an organization that values their identities and beliefs. Other people want to take an approach where they are more careful with what they share, recognizing that there could be more discrimination happening at different levels of the hiring process. Each person can decide how they want to approach their own application process, and you can always adjust if you want to alter your approach at any point. We advise against including a photo, birth date, social security number, or anything else that you might consider too personal on your resume. You are not required to include your legal name in your header, and it's your choice whether you'd like to include your pronouns or not. You are not required to disclose your immigration status on your resume. Sometimes the name of an organization you volunteered, interned, or worked for in the past, or a student or professional organization you've been a part of, can disclose certain aspects of your identity, background, or beliefs. Again, it's completely up to you how much or little you want to share, and you can always schedule an advising appointment with a career advisor to discuss what approach is best for you. To conclude, these are all the major considerations you should use to update your resume for your internship or job search. In helping you update your own resume, we recommend that you view the handouts in the Educational Studies Internship Pathway within EdWorks, which includes a resume checklist, education section templates, a sample list of action verbs to help you begin your bullet statements, and a worksheet that walks you through the steps of crafting a bullet plus statement. Additionally, you may schedule a one-on-one appointment with a career services advisor to review your resume, or upload your draft to EdWorks to receive feedback via email. Please refer to the Educational Studies Internship Search Pathway for details. And make sure you first review all of your resources we have shared and try to update your resume as much as possible before seeking feedback. Please don't hesitate to reach out to the Career Services team at soe.careerservices@umich.edu if you have any questions. We wish you the best with your internship search.